the best charcoal poultice that I've come across. I think it's the easiest one to make. It's the easiest one to make. And it also is one that's very, let's say, patient friendly. It's not very messy. So it's nice because charcoal can actually, it's black. So it gets on you, like if you make it like a paste, it kind of, you gotta wash it off, And also, I like this one because it lasts long. In fact, I think that everybody should learn how to do this poultice. You have the recipe now. You can make this at home and put it in the freezer or the refrigerator, and it's ready at any time. The one that we're making lasts the longest. We're making it with something called psyllium husk. Psyllium husk powder I have. In fact, I actually have it with us because I bring it when I bring charcoal in case anybody wants to purchase it. And you can get it because I have a psyllium husk. The psyllium is actually going to make this kind of like a jelly. And what it does is it's so fibrous, the psyllium husk. In fact, people who need lots of fiber take like things like Metamucil. Metamucil is actually psyllium. Okay? It's so the psyllium, and with other stuff in it, like flavor and stuff like that. But psyllium husk is what is going to make this poultice very like a jelly. And it's going to, so you can put it on and you can actually just peel it off. And it comes in there, it's going to be clean, So once it kind of firms up nicely. So I'm going to show you how to make the poultice. And it's so easy. It's things that you have in your home. We're going to start with, I have 6 tablespoons. This is on your recipe. 6 tablespoons of charcoal in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of psyllium husk powder. So this is just a gallon-sized bag. And here is our psyllium husk powder. Just going to add that right in there. Psyllium husk actually comes whole too, and that would work as well. All right. So I just like to mix this up with the charcoal. You can see, I'm going to close this for a minute. You can see that this is so powdery. It's even more powdery than like powdered sugar. So if you open this up and go poof, it's going to go all over the place. And I can be a little messy, so I have to be careful. All right? All right. I'm going to take 1 cup of water. I like the consistency with 1 cup. But you can do 1 to 2 cups, but it's a little bit looser. I like the 1 cup method. I'm just going to pour it right into my bag here. And I'm going to try to get all the air out if I can. Can you see a little bit of that? Okay. I want to get the air out the best I can. In fact, I'm probably going to leave this open just a little while. I have it open just a little bit. What I want to do is mix the psyllium, the water, and you can already see it's absorbing. The psyllium, the water, and the charcoal together. Because I want to make sure that the water, and I felt a little chunk of, it's already getting chunky in here. And so now what I'm going to do, now that I've mixed it up together, is now, I have this handy tool that many ladies might have in their kitchen. Who makes tortillas with these? Oh, there you go. See? Not just the ladies, right? Ladies, what is this called?
A rolling pin.
It is not.
What is it called?
It is called a husband influencer. Just so you know. You can use it like a rolling pin, but it's a husband influencer. They become very compliant when they see this come in. All right, so now I'm going to do is I'm going to just, you can see it's all clumpy here. I probably talked more than I should have, but that's okay. We're going to roll this out and roll it into the pan. I'm going to open just a corner, just to let the air out. Okay, so most of you are probably much better at this than me. Pastry and tortilla and things like that. I do have a tortilla press though. I do, but I'm not really that great at it. So, most of you don't, use a tortilla press. You know how to use it, make tortillas because it's in your blood. But my family was making pasta. They were not making tortillas. So I don't know how to do it. But anyway, just roll this out to get it to be the size of the bag. And then you have a poultice. I'm going to send this around in a little bit so you can actually feel it. Now, you don't have to use a rolling pin. You could just use your hand too. But I find that it works good if you just kind of spread it out like this and kind of even it out.
Now, if it's small bite or something,
you have to kind of.
Why do you have to make it so big?
because you can use this for multiple
Oh,
purposes. You know what you do, you're gonna cut it, cut a piece off, then fold it up and put it in like some plastic wrap or something. But you wanna make it a good size, because if you have a big spot, you want it, but also, if you have a little spot, you can just take a little piece off. So you don't have to make it little, make them big. Go big or go home, Sammy, that's what I said. All right, let's get this.
I like this blue one. This is a church.
All right, I think listen, you get the picture, I don't have to make it perfect for the demo, right?
You don't make it a baleada, that's okay.
I'm gonna send this around, right? Let me show you here a piece of the charcoal. So you're gonna see, I'm gonna take it, now this is still a little wet. It'll dry a little bit more, but let me just show you the piece. Yeah, it's still a little gooey.
But you want to apply it when it's wet, right?
Yeah, well, it'll still be damp, but it's gonna absorb more water because of the psyllium, but it just hasn't had time. So this is usually gonna be like a jelly where you could actually peel it off. Come on, can you give me a paper towel? Because I always do this and then I forget it all. He's got it. So anyways, but this will be actually firmer. If you wanted to use a little less water, you could, but it will firm up. I'm sorry, oh, you have nothing right there, that's okay. Let him be the hero.
So did you say store it in the refrigerator?
Refrigerator or freezer, I put them in the freezer, you know, because they'll last longer. Now, a lot of people use flaxseed to make the same poultice, okay? The reason why I don't use flaxseed is because flaxseed doesn't last as long. You need to use a lot more flaxseed, and it doesn't make as much of a good a poultice as this. Now, if you didn't have psyllium, and you did not have, if you didn't have flaxseed or psyllium, it would be ground flaxseed, by the way. You could actually use, now when I was in India, I couldn't get either of those things. Remember, you have to use what you have. So what I did was I just mixed some like flour and cornstarch with the and water and made it a paste. So you could do that too, that'll be fine. It's better than just water and charcoal because that doesn't absorb together. So you need something to make it bind it together. So just, you can use whatever, but I'm gonna tell you the psyllium works great. I'm sorry that the wet part is at the top here, but you'll get the picture when you feel
I have
it.
a
You don't have
question.
to, you can grab a piece if you want
I
here.
have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Mel.
So you said that you would put the fridge or the freezer.
Yeah, just store it, that's all.
But the psyllium, will it prevent it from freezing? That way it won't do anything to it.
No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine, we do it all the time. So, anyway, so you're gonna see this as you feel, if you wanna open it up and take a piece, go right ahead, you got napkins on your table, and you can see. But this is, what we would do then, is if, say you had a bug bite, right? You're gonna cut double the size of the bug bite. So you're gonna cover it like 2 times the size, right? And then what you're gonna do is you're going to wrap it with some plastic wrap. And the reason why, number one, it's gonna keep you from, being messy. It's gonna keep it on you, but it needs to have a warm, moist environment. So that it is going to warm you up with the plastic, and it's gonna keep it sweaty in there a little bit, which is going to activate the charcoal even more. You can use a little tape if you want, wrap some tape around it if you want. Usually the plastic wrap, if you buy the crescent seal, you don't really need the tape. Also, too, as an extra protection, when you cut the corner off here, just say, number one, remember, put it back in a bag, another airtight bag. But when you cut this off, just take off one side of the plastic, put the plain side down, and leave the other piece plastic on the top. It's just extra protection so that you're not getting messy, if the plastic comes off. Let's pass this around so you can feel it. It kind of feels like slime, it's slime, you've seen slime or goo, right? You can go ahead and feel that. And pass it around. And if you want it, you're welcome to open it and sample a piece if you want.
A long time ago,
Yeah.
when I was in college, I have one of these oils.
Yeah.
Oil.
Oh, it was a drawing pad.
But I didn't use that. I used, what was that? Lime. I used corn, the masa.
Corn and flour?
You make tortillas?
Yeah.
I use that with lime, mix it, put it in there,
Wow.
Like a volcano.
Interesting.
And I just put squeeze it and
Squeeze it and exploded. Wow. I don't
my
know.
mom talked about that.
Old wives' tales are very effective. A lot of the things that we do with herbal remedies, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, you're going to see that these things have been around for generations upon generations, and they're passed down and they know, you know? You use what you have.
The clay has the same function as the charcoal?
No.
No?
It doesn't, it won't pull out the toxins, but maybe it softened it enough to explode it.
Oh,
That's what happened. Yes.
I'd like to compliment these guys. Let them know that I'm really happy that they're a lot more sophisticated than the last church we went to. Because the last time she did this, she passed around, and everybody was eating the.
And they wanted to eat the charcoal. They're like, can I have some? If you want it. They ate the charcoal. You can eat the charcoal. It's tasteless, it's odorless, and it's healthy for you.
Karen,
Yes.
that's.
their purpose of freezing, you said freezers.
You can freeze it, yeah.
And so that purpose of freezing is just so you can have it ready in a moment's notice.
Well, it'll last longer, it'll preserve it by being in the refrigerator or freezer, so it'll last longer. Especially if you make one with flax seeds, if you make one with flax seed, you definitely need to refrigerate it because the flax seed will mold.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you're making such a big,
It's just so you have, when it's readily available. You don't have to make one, you know? It's made and then it's it. All right, so we're gonna, I wanna go, see, they're not as sophisticated as we thought they were. Ron, they're eating it too. All right, so we talked about, let's talk about charcoal tablets real quick. Because we mentioned that we could use charcoal tablets for especially for oral care, right? You could make the same poultice, but make it in a bowl. When it firms up and it gets like a jelly, you want to roll it out with your hands and make it like a long, like, tube. You know, like how you would roll out like a candy or something, right? So you would do that, and then you're gonna, oh, you have it on your face.
Oh,
Oh, you put it there on purpose?
not to become an Indian.
Ah. All right.
No, he has no one.
roll it.
Yeah, you're gonna roll it out like a long tube, and then you're gonna take a knife and cut them into tablet sizes.
Making cinnamon rolls.
Exactly. But roll it really, kind of small so you have these tablets, right? Then what you're going to do, I'm gonna ask you guys to keep the conversations a little lower, only because I don't hear very well, and this room has an interesting echo. And so even when you little plug it, I can't hear very well. So I'm sorry about my hearing impairment. But anyway, so when you roll it out, you cut it into little tablets. I just put them on like a baking sheet and let them air dry. And then stick them in a like a mason jar, put them in the cabinet, and when you need them, they're there. You have them. So it's mixed with the psyllium and the water. That's how you make your own tablets. You don't have to buy them, just make them. Now, oh yeah, go ahead.
Can you make it with the flaxseed as well?
It doesn't work as
Doesn't
well.
work as well.
I'm just gonna say, I'm a firm believer in the psyllium for the poultice.
Okay, and so, this you don't have to put in the freezer. You can just.
No, just put them in tablets, they're dry. No, they're gonna dry, remember, because you're gonna let them air dry, then stick them in there. So that's a charcoal tablet, you have that. I also have the charcoal slurry, remember the 1 to 2 tablespoons with the water, so you have that on here. But then let's talk about the charcoal slurry for the eye. Remember, for infections such as children especially that age, and maybe even up to eye infections. Kids touch, eye, poke, red pink eye, right? I mean, I remember as a child getting pink eye a few times. You can make a charcoal slurry. What you're going to do now is you're going to mix only 1/4 teaspoon of the charcoal powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt in a cup of boiling water, okay? Now the water, you boil the water and then you cool it, okay? And then once it's sterile, let it sit, you mix it up and let it sit. And what's going to happen is the charcoal is going to go down, settle to the bottom, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to take off the clear water only, like with an eyedropper, or just pour it out into an eyedropper bottle. You don't want charcoal in your eye. That's what we're trying to do. What happens is the charcoal activates the water. The water now becomes adsorbent, like the charcoal. So you're going to take that, put it in a bottle. Now you have an eyedropper and it's ready to go. You just pour the strained liquid into the eyedropper bottle, and then use the drops in the eyes at night and up to every 3 hours during the day. You can keep it in the refrigerator, it's ready to go. And so you just do a few drops in each eye, and you will get rid of the eye infection.
So
whether it's
you can
conjunction-
actually create a whole bottle.
Of course, put it in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yeah, get one of those, the darkened bottles, either the blue cobalt bottles or the amber bottles would be best, because remember, it likes a dark environment to be effective, okay? You
How
know-
long can you keep it in the refrigerator?
You know, I wouldn't keep it forever, but, you know, it's not, it'll last for a while, you know, but most of the time, you're not gonna need the eye slurry, so I would just make it as needed, and then you can keep it in the refrigerator as you're using it. You know, because not everybody gets eye infections all the time. The little kids, it'll happen during their school years when they're playing with other children and all that. So that is our charcoal, but now we're gonna move on to our natural remedies, our herbal natural remedies, okay? And this is gonna be very interesting. I think you're gonna find this. I'm gonna ask my friends here to pass these along. And could you? Thanks. And this is our recipes, but we also are gonna go over some herbal, the approach to herbal remedies and why herbal remedies work. Oh, Ron. Oh, hi. Showing up.
Oh, I think that was nice stuff.
The reason why I think this piece is important is because I think it's important to know why things work. I can tell you, you know, charcoal works, but without sharing with you the properties and why they work, it's not as impactful. So now we're going to go into our natural remedies portion of our herbal remedies. But I want to give you a little bit of an education about herbal remedies, just so you understand why they work. Does everybody have the systematic approach to herbal therapy? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about herbs. So the definition of an herb is a plant that's grown for either culinary or medicinal purposes. Okay, that's what an herb is. It's usually the green leafy part of the plant. In Psalms 1, I'm sorry. That should be 1. It should be 5. 5 total. They're back in front of them, right? Okay, so it should be 5 pages, maybe 3 sheets. Is that correct?
3 sheets.
Okay, 3 sheets.
There's one more set, 2 more sets here.
2 more sets in case anybody comes in. All right, so herbs are plants containing nutrients, phytochemicals, and provide health benefits to us. In Psalms 104:14 it reads, "He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man." Isn't that beautiful? That he may bring forth food out of the earth. But I want to say there's 3 general purposes of herbs. The first one is a culinary. As a chef, I use herbs as seasonings, okay? I like my food to have flavor, right? God gave us taste buds, didn't he? All right, so we want our food to taste good. So the culinary purpose of herbs is to flavor food. Then we have a nutritional value. We not only eat herbs because they taste good, but because there's lots of nutrition in herbs, okay? But then there's also a medicinal value to herbs. In fact, because they are full of something called phytochemicals. Phytochemicals and phytonutrients are plant chemicals and plant nutrients. I mean, there are thousands upon thousands of different plant nutrients that we gain benefit from by eating healthy, fresh foods and herbs, vegetables, fruits, and things like that. So let's talk a little bit about it. So let's talk about basil. First of all, I'm Italian, so you notice I put the basil, the oregano, and the rosemary in there first. Basil. What do we use basil for? Pizza, pasta. It's very aromatic. When you smell basil, it's delicious, isn't it? Yeah. It is, but it actually is stimulant and it improves our circulation and helps the cells, the integrity of the cells. It's high in vitamin C, vitamin A, and it can actually be helpful with lung problems. Oregano is an antiviral. Let me say, when I had COVID, I didn't do here, sometimes we do a immune system building class, and I talk a little bit about when Ron and I had COVID. Let me tell you, we use oregano oil. Oregano oil is an antiviral, antibacterial, phytochemicals. The properties are amazing. It was one of the treatments that we used with our steam inhalation. Then rosemary. And you can actually take, by the way, our oil of oregano. It's very, very, very strong. So please be careful when you take it. All right. Rosemary, high in vitamin C. It's good for migraines. It's good for headaches. It helps with high blood pressure. Turmeric is an anti-inflammatory. We know turmeric, right? Turmeric is good. It's also an antiviral, that turmeric is. It's good for arthritis. It helps raise the T cell count above 500 for people that have acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So turmeric is very, very good. But let's now flip to the next page because I want to share with you the basic breakdown or principle approach to herbs. So there are two things that we want to treat the body when we're using herbs. The first is the body structure. Now the body structure is what our body is made of, okay? And then of course there's something called the body function. The body function is what happens to our body when we're sick. So let me give you an example. When we're sick, we sometimes get a cough. What is the body structure? Where is the cough being produced? In what body part? The chest, the lungs, right? Your cough is coming from the lungs. The body function is the actual cough. So the function that the body's doing is it's coughing. The structure of where the cough is coming from is the lungs. So there are herbs that some of them, and you look at this chart here, some of the herbs work in the body functions, and some of the herbs help the body structure. What we want to do is to use different herbs to help not only get rid of the symptom, but to repair the body itself so that it goes away. So now go to the chart. Here we're going to talk a little bit about this chart. This is the body. This is going to kind of break it down on the different types of herbs. There's 4 categories of herbs, and it's going to tell, excuse me, which is the body function. It helps the function, and which is helps the body structure. So let's start with the aromatics. The aromatics are the herbs that smell beautiful. Garlic. Who loves the smell of garlic in the kitchen? Boy, I love the smell of garlic. Again, I'm Italian, right? Okay, garlic, cayenne, ginger, hops, peppermint, sage, chamomile. These are very fragrant herbs. Now these herbs are help speed up and stimulate the cell function. So they're going to help the functioning of the body, okay? In fact, they stimulate the nervous system and improve the function, causing an increase in the systematic function of the body on the cellular level. So what you got to do is kind of crush the herb and get those volatile oils. Now these herbs are going to have like a little spicy taste to them sometimes, like garlic is a little spicy, right? So these are the aromatics. But then another thing that helps the body function is the demulcents. Now the demulcents actually calm the cells down. They soothe cellular activity. What they do, they don't stimulate. What they do is they absorb toxins like a sponge. They draw away the poisons that cause inflammation and kind of help like localize pollution. These are things like psyllium. The psyllium that we use would be a demulcent. Comfrey, slippery elm, flaxseed, aloe vera, cabbage, echinacea, honey. You notice these are all things that are kind of gooey and slimy, right? They're the things that are going to calm things down in the system. All right? So they're slippery, right? They're kind of slippery. Then we have the herbs that help us with the body structures. The next set of herbs are called the astringents. Now the astringents actually, what an astringent does, if people put astringents on their face, it actually tones and tightens the skin, right? So that's what it does, it tones and tightens tissue. It is all the herbs that actually make your lips pucker like this. Like lemon and lime, right? These are things that, red raspberry can be very tart, right? White willow, bayberry, these are things that make us pucker. So this is the astringents. This is going to have the ability to contract the living tissue in the body because they have the presence of something called a tannin. And the tannins actually help with the digestive system the most, but they also help in urinary and the circulatory system. Remember the circulatory system with the blood. You know, Ron mentioned this in Sabbath school. Perfect circulation equals perfect health. We want the blood to circulate properly. Then the last herb category that we're talking about is the bitters. Now the bitters actually loosen things and kind of relax the structure of the tissue. So instead of tightening, they're going to loosen, all right? And this includes any kind of the bitter herbs, something that you chew on and you basically want to spit out like this, right? Golden seal, dandelion, nettle, devil's claw, cassava, bitter melon, burdock root. These are things that are very bitter, okay? But what they do is they help by bringing into the system large amounts of oxygen. Okay, they're bringing oxygen in, and then it accelerates the body's ability to absorb these active compounds that we're giving it, all these other herbs, and actually strengthen the cells. So this is why. So what I want to tell you is the reason why I wanted to go over this, because I think it's important for you to know what each category of herb does, so you can understand why we're mixing certain herbs together. Because I believe the more categories we cover, the quicker we can recover. How's that? We cover a lot of the categories, so we should try to, when we're doing herbal remedies, try to bring in the different categories. So the first one we're going to do is going to now be on our Gard's Pharmacy. We want to go to the Nature's Penicillin. So go ahead, it's on the second page. You know what, I have another copy that I actually put them in order that I do. I don't know where I didn't give you that copy, sorry. All right, so Nature's Penicillin. It's what a Nature's Penicillin is a way for us to not only help recover. Somebody comes in the office coughing and the next day they're out with the flu. Chances are, guess what? You're probably going to get the flu, right? If your immune system is down. This is going to be immune system building. If you know people are sick, start taking this as preventative. Maybe making it and taking about 4 ounces in the morning to help build your immune system. If you start getting sick, you're going to want to take this like twice a day, like an 8-ounce glass, okay? Because it's going to help you recover. It's so simple to make. We're going to start. You're going to use your blender. And we're going to start. Now, I fresh squeezed some fresh grapefruit juice. Now, if you can't have grapefruit juice, some people on certain medications cannot have grapefruit juice. You could use lime. Just try to use the equivalent of like a grapefruit's worth of juice. Use limes, maybe like 4 or 5 limes. We are going to use some orange juice, some wonderful vitamin C, right? And some sweetness. Now I fresh squeeze these. If you can't fresh squeeze, you could use the juice. This is going to be more effective. Even better is using actually the whole piece of fruit. Peel it and throw it in. But it's kind of like, very fiber, very pulpy. So you got to be able to drink that. If you don't feel good, that might not be good. Yeah, you know what I mean, Sammy? And so, but I know people that actually put in the whole fruit, use organic fruit, and use the skin too. That's a little bitter for me. I don't do that. All right, and then we have some lemons. We have some lemon juice. You have that recipe there. So I'm going to mix this. The next we're going to add is some garlic. Garlic is okay. So what kind of herbs are these fruits considered?
Bitter?
What? No, they're not bitters. Astringents. Remember lemon, the tightness, the ones that make you pucker. Lemon makes you, right? So I am going to now add some garlic. What is garlic? Aromatics. We're going to add, these are big, I only put 2 in here because they were large, but 2 or 3 is what they're calling for. So this is going to actually help with, the body function. It's antibacterial, antiviral. So it's going to fight off the viruses and the bacteria in your body. Then we're going to use some honey. I mentioned honey. Which one is honey? It's the demulcent, that's right. It is something that's going to soothe. This is going to help calm the cellular activity down to make it so we don't have that crazy response of sickness, right? By the way, honey is a superfood. Now, if you're diabetic, chances are that you don't want to just take honey straight. Again, this, for a diabetic, I would consult my doctor. This is going to raise your blood sugar. I would probably use the whole fruit, not the juice, if I was a diabetic, and I would probably cut down a little bit on the honey, because it is going to raise your blood sugar. So, but we are using the honey, and the reason why is because it is going to, like I said, calm things down. So we want that. Lastly, I'm going to use some ginger powder. Now you could use, I have on there cayenne pepper, ginger powder, peppermint, right? But I'm going to use ginger powder. The reason why all those are what kind of herbs? Which kind of herb is ginger, peppermint, aromatic? Again, this is going to help with the circulatory system, okay? And so we want it to get the blood flowing. We're going to blend this up. All right, and so start your blender on low. I'm just going to give it a minute because I want the garlic. You have to crush the garlic in order to get the benefit of the allicin. And that's what it's doing in my body when it's all done. In order to turn this crush it really out, and you don't get a chunk of garlic, right? We're going to hand this to Ron. He's going to pour these because we're going to have some samples. Because remember, this is preventative medicine. If you don't feel well, it's going to... And it sure tastes good, too. What would you
Can I
like?
have all that?
Oh, you want this? Oh, you want everything? All right, here you go. Thank you, hon. All right. How easy was that? I would put that in a jar, and I made a double, that's a double recipe, by the way. I would put that in a jar, and I would just drink that. If you're sick, like 8 ounces or so twice a day, maybe even 3 times a day. Preventatively, like 4 ounces, so make them up accordingly. You don't want the juice to sit around too long, because once you juice, you lose a lot of vitamins and minerals and stuff like that, and so you don't want to lose those benefits, okay? So even refrigerated juice, when you purchase juice, has nowhere near the vitamins and the nutrients that juice that when you squeeze it or when you're eating that fresh fruit.
So you said it builds your immune system.
It builds immune system.
So you can just like take it on a
Sure
regular
can, absolutely. I would not recommend the diabetic doing that every day.
Right.
That would be the only precaution.
Or
Yes.
Because of the honey.
Honey and this fruit juice. Fruit juice is very high on the glycemic load because you've taken out you've taken the juice, the sugar away from the fiber. So
Right, so it'd be better to use the whole fruit.
I suggest that. For a diabetic, if they're sick, put the whole fruit in there. I would suggest that. But if you were, it's always going to be better. Smoothies are better than juice overall. However, if you have an illness and you are trying to get, like if you had cancer, just say, and you're on a juicing regime for a short period of time, you are trying to get the most powerful punch of nutrients absorbed as quickly as possible, that's when juicing is better than smoothies. But for the rest of us, for regular people, if we're not treating illness in disease treatment, then smoothies are the better option because you're getting all the fiber, okay? Or most of the fiber, not all, because you are actually processing the fruit as well. All right, we are going to do actually a cough syrup. And now, you're going to see again, we're going to follow the same remedy of getting as many different kinds of herbs. Remember, we used 3 categories of the herbs, didn't we? Before we used the demulcents, the aromatics, and we used the astringent in that. Because remember, we want to treat the body function and the body structure. We are going to now do our cough syrup. It's on the front page, I think it's the first one. Second one. All right, so I have here some fresh squeezed lemon juice. Again, fresh is best, but if you could only, in a desperate moment, get regular lemon juice in the bottle, but the fresh will be best. All right, we are going to use some honey. Again, this is based on the fact that it's a demulcent. So if you have a cough, what is going to work, when of these 2 ingredients that I put in there, the lemon juice and the honey, which one is going to help the lungs? No. The astringent is going to work on the body structure, and that's what the lemon juice is. The honey is going to help with the cough. Now, many, many years ago, cough drop companies came out with honey lemon cough drops. Do you think that was by mistake? Or do you think it was because they recognized the powerful thing? Now the problem is that most of them now are filled with sugar and things that are not good for us. But the principle is there. If you see, mixing the herbs together. The honey worked on the cough, the lemon worked on the body lungs, the structure. Okay? We've got some honey in there and some lemon. I'm going to add in, you have one, you don't want, well,
I'll watch.
All right.
Wash it.
Wash it good. All right, we're gonna stick one down. He's gonna wash it with charcoal. Okay.
If you get sick, take a charcoal.
Listen, can I just tell you something? I'm not really worried about it because garlic is so superior and antiviral, antibacterial. You're not gonna get sick by that falling on the floor. You're gonna get sick from some germ, but that's not gonna make you sick. But I'll let him wash it up. I don't want to put it dirt. Listen, it could have dirt on it.
Karen, question.
Yeah.
You went, maybe I just missed the eucalyptus oil. Did
I didn't get there yet.
Okay.
Aha. So we've got honey. Why did oh yeah, I'm sorry, I did it out of order.
That's okay.
I did, you didn't miss it, I just didn't do it.
Okay.
So we have the honey, the garlic, and the lemon juice. I'm going to add now some eucalyptus oil. This is just a eucalyptus essential oil. Yeah, this is the brand that I buy because it's very affordable and I find it to be a good quality. It is not like there are ones on the market that you can spend a lot of money on, but this is just the one that I use because the health food store that I go to at Wildwood carries now, and I find it to be a very good middle of the road affordable thing. So I'm gonna, can you smell it already? Can you smell the eucalyptus yet? Not yet? All right, you will, don't worry. I think, what did I say on here? Don't you dare, change that. If you have a pen, change that. If you put 10 to 12 drops in there, you will not be able to tolerate this. It'll be so strong. It'll be overpowering. I'm gonna put probably 6 drops in there, okay? Put 6 to 8, or 4 to 8, depending on how much. Oh, I think I put 7. Sorry, I put 7 in there. Wait, I was gonna go to 8. I'm like, all right, eucalyptus oil. Lastly, I'm going to, now what was eucalyptus? Aromatic, that's right. All right, now I'm going to put in some purple, I like it's red, they call it red onion, but it's purple onion, right? Right, it's purple. I don't know why they call it red, because it's purple. I'm going to put the purple. Why do you think I'm using a purple onion or red onion?
Stronger.
What?
Stronger?
No.
Nope.
Anybody else?
It's more flavorful.
What?
It's more flavorful.
No.
Because it's more colorful.
Yes, because nobody wants to drink gray cough syrup. You'll see how pretty pink this comes out. And actually, the different colors and nutrients, they have lots of phytonutrients. They're so colorful is good. There are different properties, more properties in this onion than there are on the white onion or the yellow onion. But anyway, if you only have a yellow one, you can use it or a white one. It's still going to be effective. But this one's pretty. Watch you see this one. All right, here we go. Ah! You're not going to want to drink this like a smoothie, I promise you. This is medicinal. My question, those are your children, right? Okay. Would they want a regular, first of all, don't tell them you put onion in. Let's start there. But if you had to give them a cough syrup, this is much more appealing, isn't it, than when you just threw in an onion, right? So this, now you would take about a teaspoon, like every 3 hours until your cough subsides. I'm going to tell you, this one is definitely, like we're going to try the Nature's Penicillin, and then we're going to try this after. All right, here's our cough syrup. All right? All right. So, and this, we were talking about allergies and things like that before we were in the kitchen talking about allergies. And remember, honey is an anti-allergen. But you need to purchase honey that is actually locally
Raw.
harvested honey, raw honey, but local. Within about 50 miles. You know, they used to say, oh, 25 miles from your house. But 50 miles from here have the same plants. So 50 miles would be fine. You need to get that local honey. Number one, because usually beekeepers, local honey, take care of their bees better. They don't feed them sugar water and high fructose corn syrup and stuff like that. But lastly, because those local bees will be pollinating the local flowers that you are allergic to. You will be building up your immune system to fight off the allergies. So, all right. We are going to go now As Ron is preparing that, we are now going to do something was really effective and really good one, is our pain salve. So go ahead and go to the pain salve. Sorry, I have like the sun a little bit in my eyes, so and pain salve is on the first page. So what I did was I'm making a half of remedy here. This is just simple Vaseline. Now, I use this recipe for my demonstrations because people can do this at home. Vaseline is very easy to get. You can buy it at Walmart or whatever, it's pretty cheap. But some people may not want to use petroleum jelly. You could, if you knew how to make, using beeswax and olive oil, you could make a salve that way. You could do that. You could also use maybe non-petroleum jelly. You could use coconut oil and it'll be more like a salve, but that'll melt pretty quickly. So, but this is easy. You can use this if you don't have an aversion to the petroleum jelly, you can use that. So I have here just some Vaseline, simple Vaseline, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to add now, this is a half a recipe, cayenne pepper. This cayenne pepper is the one that I purchased online. You have to buy a very high quality cayenne pepper to do this pain salve. This is 100,000 heat units, okay? I don't even know what's in the store, but it's nothing compared to this, okay? You need to buy this in a specialty store, 100,000 heat units, all right? So, now, what is this pain salve good for? This is something that you're going to use as topical, okay? So just think about the muscles, soreness, arthritis, joint pain, neuropathy, those types of things are going to be something that this is going to be effective for. So I'm going to also add here some ginger powder. Again, ginger is going to help with the circulation, so is the cayenne. Because see, we want to bring the blood to the area.
That makes sense.
Oh, this is a half a recipe, so it's 1.5 tablespoons. But usually it's 3 if you look the recipe. I would do it in half. Well, depends if you're going to use this. I'm doing this for a demo. Oops. I'm doing this as a demo, so I'm not doing it, I'm not going to waste all the ingredients on a demo. So I figured I'd just do a half a recipe so we can get the idea. And we can give everybody some too, a sample to bring home, because you can do this at home. We also carry, my friend his name is Lee Weller, he is a naturopath doctor that also is he's an herbalist, he's a master herbalist. He does a pain salve as well. He uses the beeswax and the olive oil, and he puts also in frankincense, which is very expensive. So I'm not using frankincense in here, but frankincense is also a natural anti-inflammatory. I actually carry his pain salves too, so if anybody has a chronic issue, you're welcome to talk to me about them tomorrow, and I can talk a little bit more about that for you. All right, so I'm mixing this up. All right, we got these. I don't know why I forgot to take those off. Okay, we are now going to add some peppermint oil. Remember now. So most of this, now the petroleum jelly is actually going to be like the demulcent. So we're trying to take away the pain. But, so if you're using something else other than petroleum jelly. But these are mostly aromatics, because we're trying to stimulate the blood to come to the area. Because if the blood comes to the area, it's going to cause healing for the inflammation and the pain, okay? So here we're putting in I'm doing a half teaspoon because we're doing a half recipe of peppermint oil, and we're going to use some wintergreen, okay?
Oh, that's good.
All right, mix those in, caps on. All right, we're going to mix this in. Now, let me tell you I'm going to give you a couple testimonials about the pain salve, okay? So, I have 3. I actually have 3 stories about pain salve. The first story is, there was a woman in my class like this, right? Who, she had neuropathy, and the reason why, well, she had nerve damage, I should say. She was a diabetic who was had to have a fistula put in for dialysis, okay? And they severed one of the nerves to the hand. Therefore, when they went in to do this procedure, so her hand was always like this. She had such pain, she couldn't close her hand properly. So I do the class, and she says, could I put some on my hand? Yeah, I said, yeah, sure, I'll pass it around. You're welcome. I'll pass it around now too. And then as I'm talking, you can take a little bit if you want. Sure. Peppermint and wintergreen. So, there's a precaution with this stuff. ginger pepper. Oh, that's only ginger. So, the precaution is that the cayenne and the ginger, the peppermint, the wintergreen are going to bring the blood to the surface. So number one, you want to rub it in really well because we want it to penetrate, right? You also want, remember it's kind of red here, it's orange color because of cayenne. So if you rub it in really well, it'll kind of, blend into your skin. But the second precaution, before you shower, about a half hour before you go into the shower, you need to really clean this off with soap and water and wherever you put it, on your knee, on your elbow, wherever, your wrist. The reason why is because it's drawing the blood to that area. If you go into the shower with the warm water, you are going to have you're going to do the Irish jig. I don't care what country you're from, you're going to do the Irish jig. Okay? Because it's going to have very temperature sensitive because all your blood has gone there to heal that area of the body. All right? So we're going to pass this around. If you want, you can go ahead and take a little bit here. You don't have to use a spoon here, fork, I don't care. Anybody. You can take a little bit, rub it in. Now remember, rub it in really good. Ron can't hear me, right? One time his wrist was hurting him and he put paint salve on it. I said, please use the paint salve. Use the paint salve. But he didn't rub it in good. And then we went out and we were talking to somebody. And Ron was talking and he's like, his whole hand was like orange. I was like embarrassed. I'm like, I must think he doesn't wash because it's all orange. But anyway, so rub it in really good like this. But you're going to see in about 10 minutes or so, depending on how sensitive your skin is, you're going to start feeling a warmth. Nice, warm, soothing feel. The problem is that if the hot water goes on it, right? So make sure you clean it off good. Clean it off good. All right, let's pass this around. Let me just use this to wipe this off a little bit so nobody gets... Do not touch your face. Do not let the kids touch it. They'll touch their eyes and they'll have cayenne pepper in there.
You taste it?
You want to eat Vaseline?
Oh, no.
All right. So, everything else is there. Now, I just want to let you know that I am not, I know I'm half, so we have a population of Latinos here who maybe, especially in Mexico, have a desire to enjoy a little hot pepper on their food, right? I do not, I just want to let you know, I do not use any kind of chilies in my cooking. That there is counsel through the Spirit of Prophecy, I hate to tell you this, but there is counsel of the Spirit of Prophecy that talks about spices. Chilies are one of them. Chilies are an irritant to the stomach lining. I want to let you know that Mexico City, I don't know what part of Mexico you're from, but Mexico City has the highest rate of stomach cancer, okay, in the world, pretty much. India is pretty high too. You have a 35% more likely chance of getting stomach cancer if you regularly eat chilies.
But how come you sell cayenne pepper in capsules?
There is a medicinal property. I said I don't use it in a culinary application. When I make my natural penicillin, I use cayenne because it's an excellent stimulant to the blood, okay? It purifies the blood, okay?
But they also make the capsule, they eat it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Medicinally, I use it. If I, like in my natural penicillin, I would put that in there, okay? I would never use it on a regular basis, though. I don't believe in anything for chronic illness. Chronic illness, we have to change the habits and aid nature. But we can't continue to do, because something like cayenne pepper, taking it every day, could literally affect the stomach lining severely. You see what I'm saying? So chronically, I wouldn't do that. But in an acute situation, like if I'm sick, maybe I'm sick for 4 or 5 days with a terrible flu, I would do a little bit of cayenne in there, because it's going to stimulate the blood. All right, so that's just giving you my little dissertation on cayenne pepper. All right.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just rub it in.
Just rub it in. See, I just rubbed it on my hand.
I guess the cayenne pepper is almost like an exfoliator. It says.
Oh yeah, well, you know what? It doesn't really dissolve.
Yeah.
So it's kind of spraying in. Well, it's not going to hurt you. Don't worry. Milton, you've got tough skin, I'm sure. Yeah, just rub it in good. Yes.
So I'm not going to cayenne pepper every day?
It is not, according to the Spirit of Prophecy. I'm going to bring this back to Ellen White. I'm not going to bring it from me. Cayennes are chilies. Although people will turn around and tell you that cayennes are not chilies, I've had people, it is absolutely a chili. So, with that being said, my husband likes a little spice to him, okay? I have a baby tongue. That's another reason why I don't use it, by the way. It's because I don't tolerate spicy really well. So, I would tell you, do I every once in a while make some guacamole and put a little jalapeno in there for Ron? I take the seeds out and the ribs out. I make it very mild. But I do every once in a while. Why? It's something he enjoys. And it's not on a regular basis. Yes.
How long you can store it? You make.
Oh, this? You can store it for a long time, airtight. Just put it in a mason jar and leave it in the cabinet. Yeah, it's good for us. It is not going to be, chicken cookies is going to be down the road, but I don't care about it. All right. So, everybody has a spot. All right.
I wanna.
Wait a minute.
I don't feel nothing.
You will.
Just wait.
Just wait. Anybody feel the warmth yet?
No.
Some people do. It depends on your sensitivity.
Do we know how many samples we
No, not
have
yet.
of this?
Please raise your hand if you would like a sample of this to take home.
Can I have an example of my paint?
Yes, it'll help us. Raise your hand if you would like to bring paint salve home.
4, 5, 6, 7,
Just make them all.
8, 9, 10.
Just make one for everybody. All right. The last and the easiest one is a burn clean. Now I work in the kitchen. I'm a chef. So I work in the kitchen a lot. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. That's okay. I work in the kitchen a lot. Unfortunately, I have some war wounds to prove it, okay? Scar. By the way, this was from 3ADN last year. I'm going to tell you, I didn't finish the stories about the pain stuff. Let me finish this and then I'm going to go back to the pain stuff. Okay, 3ADN, Satan's always trying to beat us up all the time when we're doing God's work. I was making something, because I have to cook all the food for 3ADN ahead of time and then demonstrate it on another set of it on TV. So what happens? I was making something, I went to pull something out of the oven, my arm hit the top, because it was like a double oven, my arm hit the top of the element at 450 degrees, and I hit it. Okay, yeah. And it was brown. I stopped and I said, please, Lord, don't let this be a blister or break open while I'm on TV. I don't want to have to put a big bandage on. It doesn't look nice. I don't want it to look ugly, like if it breaks open and then I'm doing a program. That would be terrible. I said, please, Lord. So, God in His mercy, listen how He's such a miracle worker. Do you know this thing just stayed like discolored brown until the minute I finished the show and it blistered and broke open? After I was done. Isn't that amazing? Like really, an instant answered prayer. Okay, but the thing, I didn't have time, I was in a rush, I didn't have time to do this. This is something that will last forever. You could put it in, this one will last forever in the cabinet, and for any first or second degree burn, it would be perfect. All right? Baking soda. Baking soda. You can get this in the store for so cheap. Just take it, I'm not measuring, I'm just gonna put some in the bowl, okay? However much you want to make, okay? Baking soda. Honey. Do you know honey, up until the 1940s, was the treatment of choice in the burn units of the hospital. Because honey, let me tell you about honey. I probably will talk about sweeteners tomorrow, so I'm not going to talk about the principles of nutrition in honey. But I am going to talk right now about honey, about how it helps, how it heals. If you have a cut, if you have a burn, if you have a scrape, or anything that could be a puncture, anything that could get infected, put honey on it. Honey is an antiviral, antibacterial, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antiseptic. It is anti-everything that's bad, okay? It will heal on the cellular level because what it's going to do is it's going to activate almost acidic like peroxide. Okay, there's an acidity to honey. It's going to heal. And it's going to keep away infection. So this is what they used for burn victims up until the 1940s. And then of course pharmaceutical companies came in and thought they had a better way, so they made a chemical that you put on for your burns now, instead of using what God gave us, okay? Just mix this up like a paste. It's gonna come like a creamy, paste. If you see? And that is it. This will help the scarring. It will help keeping it from being infected, and it will help, you know, the inflammation, so it will heal faster.
Will it keep it from blistering?
I can't guarantee that. It depends on how fast you get it on. It's going to depend on how severe the burn is. This is only for first and second degree burns.
Right, because you know you can put the aloe vera.
Yes,
And
actually,
that'll keep it from blistering.
let me tell you what happened though. With this, after I finished the show, I said, I'm gonna have to get something. I was gonna get the ingredients to make the burn cream because I needed baking soda. I went down to the Dollar General by 3 ABN and they had aloe vera plants there. Who knew? They had aloe vera plants at the Dollar General when I needed them. So I've always, you know, God is such a miracle worker.
Just in there,
What?
just in there.
Isn't that crazy? Right? So anyway, here we go. We'll show you this. This is a burn cream. I mean, you're welcome to look at it. And we can put a couple of those in case anybody wants to take a little bit. We'll make a couple of those. We didn't make a lot of that. But anyway, does anybody have any questions?
You have the recipe here?
Burn cream, yes, on there. Minor burn remedy. That's it. Just put it on. Honey is going to heal. And it's going to keep the infection away.
This is only up to second degree burn.
Only up to second degree. If it's a pretty severe burn, go get treated properly. But hey, listen, you want to know why it's only for first and second degree burns? Because we want to make sure that you're getting treated properly, because you could have done some serious damage with a third or fourth degree burn. But the honey property is still going to help. The reason why it's only up to, I recommend only first and second degree, because a third or fourth degree, it is so bad that you really want to get it checked out. But Milton, I'm going to tell you, it'll still be effective, but you need to make sure you haven't done any damage to your flesh. So you want to make sure you're taking proper precaution. So, does anybody have?
Oh, I didn't see it.
Oh, check it out. All right. So without further ado, we're going to try some of the samples. All right, we're going to try. Oh, yeah, we'll try. But did you have a question?
No.
Okay. Why don't we have a word of prayer? And then we're going to pass out the samples. We have the Nature's Penicillin first. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for this opportunity to do a little practical demonstration here. Lord, help the information to resonate in our hearts and our minds, that we may be able to use these one day. Lord, we have no idea when the times will change where we can't even get to a doctor or medicine won't be available. Let us remember these remedies that you have provided for us. So we thank you and praise you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, we're going to go ahead. Ron's going to have to pass. Actually, Ron, why don't you hand that to me? I'll do something. And we will pass.